are suggesting by using the term art that, because I've been taking pictures since I was like 8 or 9 years old, but I didn't start using pictures as a source of not only kind of data, but helping me understand, I guess, my world better until I photographed a canoeing expedition. And I had some very specific answers or questions that I was looking for answers through pictorial representation of what was going on. And so I think that was, I don't know, in 2001, 2002, I don't know, it was for my graduate thesis back then. You know, I don't really know what talent is, period. I know I didn't, learn that making stuff, specifically photographs, kind of was, you know, it kept my attention. So I guess talent can be defined when you know, execute a behavior and you enjoy it and you want more and you do what you can to keep fueling that stuff that you enjoy. And I guess it doesn't, you know, piss a lot of people off or turn a lot of people, you know, turn their heads the other way. I wound up, again, through my first graduate program, I took out some, you know, a student loan, and I wound up buying a new 35 millimeter camera and a real cheap enlarger set that I put in my bathroom. And I found that I was just working with 5x7 images, but I really got a lot out of it. And so I kept doing it more and more and more and more. And I, you know, would hand out the photographs and do all kinds of stuff. I didn't really have the intention of sticking the drawings and the photographs together. One is for a studio course that I'm doing with Fred Barraza, and those are the drawings. And it's, you know, we draw figures, whether they be men or women. And I don't want to say study the figure like you'd study an egg, but you have people who take their clothes off and you draw them, hoping to come up with, I don't know, some way to articulate what you see, whether it's, you know, some actual, you know, optical truth or realism, or if it's something else. And I tend to steer more towards that something else, just because I don't have the skill or the talent to do, you know, the optical truth and the, you know, very, very realistic drawings. And my goal throughout that course was to work on analytical cubism. And I really like Picasso as the poet and the guitarist. And I don't know what the quality is that I really appreciate, but it's something that's there. And the photography is for Matthew Somerville's studio course. And you know, I'd shot the figure before in the past, but I wanted to do this kind of shadow, working with a sheet. Not a whole lot of meaning, just kind of a less intrusive way of, I had no intentions of sticking these two together, but when I got back into the darkroom, you know, and started playing with the negatives, I thought that they would go well with the drawings that I had created. And I know I had come up with this kind of construct for how we become passionate about anything. And you know, again, that's kind of linked with talent, where first we have to have curiosity. And then from that curiosity, we have a sense of desire. And then from the sense of desire, we may daydream or fantasize. And we don't realize what potentially passion is until we express it within the real world, where it begins to extend beyond just what's in our head. And so the first series of photographs that I did were more about this thing called curiosity. And so I think that's why, you know, the barrier works well. You know, there are certain suggestions, you know, and at least you know, the photographs help me ask the question, wow, what's going on here? What am I looking at? What am I supposed to take away? not only from the images themselves, but the process that I went through to create the images. Specific style or visual style, or what?
Can choose any of the above.
Oh my goodness.
Because you've got a mixed collection there. So.
Yeah. Well, photographically speaking, at least this last time with the model shooting her behind the sheet, I didn't have any specific poses that I was looking for or postures. I thought about, well, what's the posture of a person that might communicate curiosity? And it's like asking somebody, what's the one interpretation of any painting, photograph, or piece of literature, where many people will have, very different reads to it. And so it was kind of a non-directive shoot. And then once I got into the dark room, the first session in the dark room, I just printed one negative per piece of paper. And I thought it was interesting. I liked what I got, and then I went back in with the intention of working with multiple negatives or, multiple exposures on the paper, and some very different things came out. And that kind of curiosity of what I saw from the process kind of inspired me to paint on the images with the fixer. And so the style is more about experimentation. I guess it's an experimental style, and I know that's not really definitive in terms of the photographic or artistic language, but that's about as best as I can give you. That's a good question. I think what keeps me going, at least just experimenting with stuff where I expect, really nothing in return, whether it be money or, commentary or anything, where it's this intrinsic thing within my soul that just forces me to I guess as long as I surprise myself by what I come up with, where I go, wow, okay, that's kind of interesting. What if we take that to an extreme? And as long as I get to, I guess if I am surprised by, I don't want to say the extreme measures that I take, because I don't think I'm a very extreme, person or creator or whatever. But as long as there's an element of surprise to me by what a final product or a piece might look like, then that gives me enough reason to keep taking photographs. There are different ways to look at a person or an artist and say, wow, they're either the person themselves is an inspiration, or their work is inspiring. I don't have an art history background, so I don't know, artists per se. I can look at a specific image and go, oh, that's kind of unique, that's interesting. And I may call on that interesting facet maybe a year later, where I can relate that to kind of what I'm doing, just for, stepping stone to know that I'm not, pursuing something that's just, absurd. But as far as like knowing artists, I'd have to say George Reed, who's 85 years old, and he's, taking photographs, and he loves it. He could care less whether he prints the stuff. It's all about, I don't know if it's the element of the moment, or the element of surprise, or just being within, an environment where he gets to see these wonderful things kind of, as he says, unfold, these moments unfold, through the lens that he necessarily wouldn't have access to had he just, been sitting there in a chair walking around. And I think for an 85-year-old guy to create the energy to, stand for 6 hours for his love of just shooting people with cameras, not guns, that's inspiring. And so I can think, if I'm 85, I'd like to be where he is with that same drive. Are you for real? Are you going to ask me if I was strapped on an island, what's the one book I would write?
No, I just want you to describe yourself.
Does it have to be 5 words?
Exactly 5 words, no ands, ifs, just 5 words.
Okay, 5 words. Tyler Bingham sitting on chair. 5 words? Yeah.
That's 5 words. Is that a description?
I don't know, you tell me. Am I sitting on a chair?
You are.
I know, you were hoping for something a little more substance.
Can't think of any?
Nope, that's where I am right now.
Okay.
Whenever I ask the question, should I be doing what I'm doing? Am I wasting my time? This is stupid. Whatever, coming up with all these negative attributes for, doing life, so to speak. I think in the book Letters to a Young Poet, written by Rilke, although the book doesn't address photographers per se, it's about a poet kind of wondering, should I be doing this? Am I wasting my time? And so he is seeking consultation from this poet, and Rilke responds, I can't help you. I can't give you any advice. I can't give you any direction. What you have to do now is go into the depths, of your soul during your quietest hour and ask, must you write? And if the answer is, yes, I must, then keep at it. And he says if you find that you don't have to, he kind of says just put it aside and let it go. And again, I think that alludes to developing passion. So for anybody who's an aspiring artist, photographer, creator, I simply would say stay away from really categorizing yourself with a whole lot of specificity and just keep doing what you enjoy doing, and you can let the people around you kind of use the descriptors to define you one way or another. And if you find something that sparks your curiosity, make sure you have the answer of why it does firmly in your hand, so you can that's a tool that you just put in your pocket, carry it around, and bring it out whenever when you need to.